Have you ever wondered what true love really is? We see it in movies, we read about it in books, and we hear it in songs. But what if the love we're all searching for, that deep, unshakable connection, is something more profound than we've ever imagined? Today, let us explore a story about a love that transcends time and circumstance, a story about perfect and divine love. Imagine a world not unlike our own, but where emotions had physical forms. Joy was like a warm golden light that danced around people. Sadness was a cool blue mist. And love, well, love was the most complex of all. It could be a fragile, flickering flame or a roaring, uncontainable bonfire. In this world lived two souls, Elara and Kale. They weren't born into royalty, nor did they possess any magical powers. They were ordinary people, yet their story would become legendary. Elara was a painter. She saw the world in vibrant hues and endless possibilities. She spent her days capturing the beauty she saw on her canvas, but there was one color she could never quite get right, the color of true connection. She'd mix reds and pinks, but they felt fleeting. She tried golds and whites, but they felt distant. Her heart yearned for a color she had only glimpsed in her dreams. Kale was a musician. He could play any instrument, and his melodies could make flowers bloom or stars weep. He composed songs about everything he knew, the whispering wind, the steady earth, the flowing river. Yet he felt a certain silence within his own music. He was searching for a harmony he had never heard, a chord that would resonate with the very essence of his soul. One day, drawn by an unspoken pull, their paths crossed in a quiet, ancient forest. Ilara was trying to paint the way sunlight filtered through the leaves, a cascade of liquid gold. Kale was sitting by a stream, trying to compose a melody that mimicked the water's gentle flow. He saw her first, completely lost in her art, a smudge of green paint on her cheek. He felt a curious warmth spread through him, a feeling he'd never known. He picked up his lute and began to play a soft, tentative tune. The music reached Elara, and it was unlike anything she had ever heard. It wasn't just sound. It felt like a question, an invitation. She looked up and met his eyes. In that moment, something shifted. The world around them seemed to fade away, and for the first time, they both saw a new color, a new sound. It was a shimmering, iridescent light that was every color and none at all. It was a melody that was both silent and deafeningly beautiful. This was the beginning of their journey together. Their love wasn't a sudden, passionate explosion. It was a slow, gentle unfolding. They spent their days sharing their worlds. Elara showed Kale how a single drop of dew on a spiderweb could hold an entire universe. Kale taught Elara how the rhythm of a heartbeat could form the basis of a powerful symphony. They didn't fall in love. They grew into it. Their love was built on acceptance. Elara had moments of doubt, where canvas remained blank and her colors turned muddy. In those times, Kale wouldn't offer empty reassurances. Instead, he would simply sit with her, his quiet presence a steady anchor in her storm. He would play a gentle melody, not to fix her, but to remind her that even in the grayest moments, music still existed. Likewise, Kale had times when his inspiration ran dry, when his instruments felt like foreign objects in his hands. Elara wouldn't push him to create. She would take his hand and lead him on a walk, pointing out the funny shape of a cloud or the intricate patterns on a butterfly's wing. She helped him see the world again, not as something to be translated into music, but simply as something to be experienced. Their love was a partnership. It wasn't about two halves making a whole. It was about two whole individuals choosing to walk the same path. They supported each other's dreams without jealousy. When Elara was commissioned to paint a mural for the city square, Kale was her biggest supporter. He brought her meals, helped mix her paints, and played music that filled the square with an atmosphere of hope and creation. The finished mural was breathtaking, a testament to her vision, but everyone who saw it could feel the love that had been woven into every brushstroke. Similarly, when Kale decided to compose a symphony for the grand festival, Elara became his muse. She would describe scenes to him, a ship sailing on a stormy sea, a child laughing in a field of flowers, and he would translate her words into powerful, evocative music. On the night of the performance, as the final note of his symphony echoed through the hall, The audience was moved to tears. They heard not just music, but the story of a deep and unwavering connection. But this perfect love wasn't without its challenges. The world around them, with its fleeting flames of passion and cool mists of sadness, sometimes couldn't understand their bond. Some were envious, others were skeptical. They whispered that a love so steady must be boring, that a connection so deep must be an illusion. There came a time of great sorrow in the land. A strange, colorless blight began to spread, draining the vibrancy from the world. The golden light of joy grew dim, and the blue mist of sadness became a heavy, suffocating fog. People grew distant from one another. Even Ilara's paints began to lose their pigment, and Kale's instruments produced hollow, discordant sounds. It was their greatest test. The blight tried to seep into their hearts to create distance between them. There were days when frustration and fear made them sharp with each other. But their foundation was too strong. They had learned to communicate beyond words. When Kale saw the fear in Elara's eyes, he didn't argue. He held her. When Elara heard the despair in Kale's silence, she didn't demand answers. She brought him a single, resilient flower that had managed to bloom against all odds. They realized that their love wasn't just for them. It was a beacon. They decided to fight the blight not with force, but with their gifts. Elara started painting again, but this time, she didn't try to capture the world as it was. She painted the world as it could be, full of color, light, and connection. She used the iridescent hue of her love for Kale as her primary color. Kale composed new music. He didn't fight the silence. He incorporated it. His melodies rose from the quiet, filled with a gentle, persistent hope. He played the harmony he had discovered with Elara, a chord that resonated with the innate desire for connection in every heart. Together, they traveled from village to village. Elara would set up her canvas, and Kale would play his lute. At first, people were hesitant, trapped in their own colorless worlds. But slowly, the combination of her vibrant paintings and his soulful music began to work a kind of magic. A child would point at a splash of brilliant yellow in Elara's painting and smile for the first time in weeks. An old woman would hear a familiar, hopeful melody in Kale's music and feel a long-forgotten warmth. Their art, born from a love that was pure and selfless, was a medicine for the soul. It reminded people of what they had forgotten, how to see beauty, how to feel hope, and how to connect with one another. The iridescent light and the resonant harmony began to spread from person to person, pushing back the blight. Elara and Kale never saw themselves as saviors. They were simply sharing the gift they had found with each other. Their love wasn't about possession or dependence. It was divine because it was generous. It expanded to include everyone it touched. It wasn't about finding a perfect person, but about building a perfect love through imperfection, through patience, acceptance, and unwavering support. Their story teaches us that divine love isn't some unattainable ideal reserved for myths and legends. It's a choice we make every day. It's the choice to listen, to understand, to support, and to share. It's in the quiet moments of sitting with someone in their sadness. It's in celebrating their joys as if they were your own. It's about seeing the divinity in another person and helping them see it in themselves. The love of Elara and Kale didn't make them immune to pain or hardship. What it did was give them a constant source of strength and a shared purpose. It turned their individual lives into a beautiful, harmonious duet. It's a reminder that the most powerful force in the universe is a connection that seeks not to take, but to give, not to complete, but to elevate. So, as you go about your life, look for that divine spark. It might not appear as an iridescent color or a magical chord. It might be in a shared laugh, a comforting hand on your shoulder, or a moment of perfect understanding with someone you care about.